Yeah, my beats, they are hard.
Well, hello. Happy Monday evening to you all. Brian Fulford and A.D. Drew here, ready for our 8th season of the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. A.D., when you hear that and you think about we're going into year number 8, what kind of thoughts come to mind?
Where has the time gone? I can't say where my hair has gone because I didn't have hair when we started the show. I can't officially say that, but a lot more gray than I had when we started the show. Both of us.
Yeah, I got a few more grays.
Yeah,
Dropped a few LBs for me.
But and you know where those LBs wind up landing at, Brian?
Where?
Right here in South Georgia.
Not
as big. I haven't put on as many as you dropped, but I have picked up a couple of them.
All right. Well, hey. Appreciate it's been fun. We keep enjoying talking with all of you. We kind of keep growing the audience over these years, slowly and steadily. We keep trying to find new ways to really grow. But I appreciate the longevity of being able to do this, and especially we've been doing it. And probably 99% of the shows are never in the same place.
I won't say 99. I would say, let's see.
Well,
let's go back to the
accountant. You do the math there.
All right, let's go back to the beginning, Brian. And a lot of people don't know we started off audio only for the first year and a half, 2 years.
Yes,
of
audio only. Yes.
Yeah.
I was very much against doing video.
Yeah, no one really even knew we were out there. And then maybe 2019, 18, 19, I'm thinking. Yeah. No, I let's see. When I was living in Alabama, we were audio only. Mm-hmm. We did not start video until
it was at least 19. It was at least 19.
It was 19 because I had moved to Georgia where we started video because I had to find a place in my house. I never did video in Alabama.
And I had left my job where I was actually, matter of fact, this company. I had left this company, which I'm a stockholder. So the reason I wear this is because I bought stock, and this company is very, very successful. So hell, I'm a part owner of this company. So yes, I work there, but I'm a part owner of it. So that's why
employees.
But yes,
when I left employee stock option.
Yeah, exactly. When I got some great deals back in the day on the stock. So, but anyway, it was this company that I left. Yeah. So
and then so we started video in 2019. Originally just on Black College Sports Network, expanding to YouTube, Facebook, everything else,
figuring all that out. Still, I say we're still figuring it all out. I mean, because that's the one thing, Drew. Let's be honest. We are the producers of this show. In the 7 years that we've done this, we've rarely, if ever, had anyone other than you or I producing, directing, editing, coming up with the script, all that jazz. I would love to get some interns now. Hey, if anyone out there listening is interested in growing within these HBCU or just in sports media, hey, we would love to have some producers or a producer to come in and help us grow this show. Even some hell, Drew, we even do the marketing. We do it all.
Yeah. Well, Roy originally started off as our producer.
Yes, he did.
While we were experimenting with different ways to bring this show live, then
he realized we were long-winded, and he was like, "I can't do this anymore."
Right. So then he passed it off to Belle, who currently produces the Carlos Brown show for the Black College Sports Network. She's not producing anymore.
No, she does. She does.
Yeah, Brian's the backup producer for the for the Carlos Brown show. But Mel's
she bailed on us too. Said we were too long-winded. She bailed on us.
She's like, y'all never get done in a lot amount of time, so we had to start self-producing.
Yeah,
we had to start self-producing, and we've gone from Zoom to other platforms. Now we primarily use StreamYard, excuse me. So
we went Zoom to vMix to StreamYard. So we've used 3 different. So I mean, man, it's been a heck of a run. I mean, and
we started off on free conference call.
Yes, we did. Yes, I remember that.
We were on audio.
Yeah, no, definitely. What a trip down memory lane. And we've had the pleasure.
And then hold up. Then we went from recorded to live.
Yeah, I don't even know which was easier, to be honest. Yeah, but I always was a fan of recorded, and then we just took the live and made it recorded. Because remember, we started podcasting before podcasting became a thing. Before we knew what it was called, we were podcasting shows 20-something years ago. And then we,
correct.
So
it's kind of like me. It's kind of like me when I was coaching. I was doing advanced statistical analysis, which you commonly call today analytics.
Yeah.
Now it has a name. Now it was just advanced stats at that point in time. Advanced metrics.
Yeah, exactly. So, and we've had the pleasure of talking to presidents, conference commissioners, athletes, politicians. We've talked to. I can't think of. I'm not even going to try to say to you, hey, what's the one guest that has really tipped the scale and really been of interest? I can't. I didn't even think about this previously, but maybe that's for another week. I don't know unless you can come up with something in your head real quick of a guest that we've talked to that you were like really, geeked or excited about talking to.
I give you one, and this just happened recently, and it was just a spur of the moment thing because this guest is a fan of ours. And he's not just of ours, but of this genre, HBCU sports genre, on the internet, us telling our own stories, was the impromptu that we had with Dr. Faison a couple of months ago from Edward Waters University.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Also enjoyed Dr. Abdullah from Virginia State. That was
I still remember
about 3-4 years ago, but that one was scheduled.
Yeah,
the one with Faison.
I think he was our first president. I think he was our first university president, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Another one, and this is not necessarily directly SportsWrap related, but when we did 3-4 hours of impromptu coverage when FAMU made the move from the BAC to the SWAC, and we pulled that together in less than an hour. We went live with that, and that wasn't not just us from the SportsWrap, but that was ONG Strike Zone, that was Dr. Cavill, that was the network coming together. And I remember that point blank, I was at work and I did it from work, literally on and off the screen as I could appropriately. and just
that was right during COVID. That was during COVID, and so I remember,
right.
being at home, and so that's what kind of. Well, also it was. I think it was the summer when we did that. So
it was that summer. We were starting to break out
yeah.
of COVID, and I just some of the things that we have done to bring this Black college story to people has, unless you lived it, you would not believe it. One other thing, Brian, I've also, in my time with the Black College Sports Network, I've also enjoyed when we've done our games. We've done live sports, 3 consecutive years of doing the GCAC, you and I, the primary on the call for the GCAC. We've done SIAC championships. Those have been the primary 2 conferences that we've worked with during my tenure. You've been around, obviously you've been around since the beginning, so you've done a lot more than I have, but just the opportunities that this has opened up for me personally, the friendships that I've met, the people that I've met, the stories that I've been able to tell. When you walk up, when you go somewhere and people speak to you like you're supposed to know them, but they know me. But and the reason I say that, they know me, but I don't know them. And when you meet someone who actually watches your show, is like, hey, I'm so and so and so and so online, or I'm this person on Facebook, or I'm this person on YouTube.
Yeah.
Always, and then you just start to just striking up a general conversation about them. Nothing to do with athletics, just them, their school affiliation, just finding out more and more about your
No, I agree with you.
about the people who
I'm always nervous though. I'm just, in all honesty, I'm an introvert, so I'm always nervous of always forgetting somebody. I always feeling like I should, all you guys who watch our show, whether you're watching it live or later, I feel like I should know you. I feel like you spend the time and you comment in the chat, or you follow us, and you guys, and so I always feel like I should know you, and I always hate not knowing. And so my way of doing that is I'd rather try to avoid even running into you, so I mean, I'm the introvert. I'm the introvert in the room. So AD is more of the outgoing guy. He'll talk to anybody and everybody. I'm the introvert. So if you see me ever standing over in the side, I'm the watcher, listener, observer. And that's me. And so, but yeah, it is always. I still say to this day, it's always humbling, to know that people are watching. You guys are commenting. You guys are being a part of the conversation, and that's what I feel like we've always wanted to do, is just kind of have these conversations and get people talking about HBCU sports. The same way, I know for me, I grew up and consume a lot of sports content, and I watch things and I'm just like, we can do that with HBCUs. We can, and so I feel like we're still just chipping at the surface of where I want to be and where I want us to go. So,
and it's kind of fun. It's kind of funny that you say that, because I remember when you called me. It's like we're doing a podcast tomorrow night. And what? We're doing a what? And let me tell y'all something. This brother called me, no script, no nothing, and just started asking me all these questions. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not making stuff up, but I was not. I knew about it, but
it took you a minute, right?
I had not taken the time to dive deep in and to really formulate an opinion one way or another. And sometimes for the sake of the podcast, no matter what Brian will believe or what I may believe, we will take opposite views on the podcast, and it's usually me taking the contrarian view.
Yes, it's usually you.
But it's to generate the conversation. to get people, to give people
You've
the
done a
other
great
side.
job of that. You've done a great job.
And because
I give you much credit for that.
we can't both be on the same side of every issue, no matter what our personal feelings may be towards that issue. It's up to us to make sure that we try to present the full story and to give you the full spectrum of what to think, And then, if I'm going to be on the other side, I'm going to be on the other side. I'm going to do my research and support and do what I have to do to support the other side. It's just like an old debate class. But Bryan, going back, last thing you talk about memorable interviews. And I have to throw this one out. My most memorable interview with the Black College Sports Network was actually with me and Roy when we interviewed my late sister. This was back during the pandemic, and there were a lot of things. There were a lot of issues going on. This was after Floyd, George Floyd, and everything else, and Bowser was still there in DC. The black mayor in Atlanta, the black female mayor in Atlanta. I'm drawing a blank right now.
Stacey.
No. Abrams had just ran for governor.
I know who you're talking about. Go ahead.
But anyway, this is when black women were hot in big cities. And
Black girl magic.
And obviously her being a former state legislator, she was working for the St. Louis County at that point in time, and we just talked politics, life issues, sport, and her obviously growing up in the Drew family, she was very versed in athletics. So we talked about that, and because she's married, she uses her married name, and until the last 10 minutes of the interview, no one we never revealed that we were brothers, sisters, like full brother and sister. Yeah, right. Keisha Lance Bottoms. Thank you, Lawrence.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was my most memorable interview. Cool. Even, and I point of personal privilege, even though she has passed, I'm glad that is immortalized here on the Black College Sports Network, because I do go back and look at that interview every now and then.
Oh, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good to know. Okay, so again, season number 8 starting up for us. Want to encourage everybody, if you can, please make sure you're following the show. Hopefully you're following us, the Black College Sports Network, on Facebook, Instagram, X, and on YouTube via the Jericho Broadcast Network's YouTube page. Of course, at MyBCSN1, the number 1. You might also be subscribed to our BCSN SportsWrap Facebook and YouTube pages, which, we always run just in case you want solo content from just us. We got to figure out how to maybe do some extra special things with those. Also want to encourage you to join the Black College Sports Network on YouTube by becoming a member of, not just a subscriber, but be a member. Help support the BCSN in our we got some plans. I know the season is about less than a month away, 26 days, if I'm not mistaken. So there's an opportunity there to support, and we appreciate everyone who does. Appreciate everybody. It's people like Tamara T, who's a JBN subscriber. We appreciate you for joining and being a part and just supporting in every way possible. Also want to say hello. Yeah.
Dr. Cavill being in this chat made me think about something, and I'm ashamed that we didn't think about this when we started this podcast. I wish we would have numbered our podcast like he does his, because we have no clue as to how many episodes that we have done.
Well, ever since we started posting shows on the BCSN Pod Zone, which you can download our all of the shows that are part of the Black College Sports Network, BCSN Pod Zone on all of your favorite podcast platforms. I do number the shows that way. So But yeah, so there you see live in action. Drew taking phone calls. I don't know. Maybe that's Doc calling him right now. But anyway, want to say hello to Walter Harley. Appreciate you jumping in early and joining us, Walter. We say hello to you. Also want to say hello to Mary 305. Thank you, Mary, for joining in. Appreciate you, Coach Ferrasi Norman. Good to see you, Coach. Good talking with you. Keep doing God's work out there where you are. Dr. Cavill, of course, checking in. Appreciate you, Doc. Yeah, some great memories. We appreciate connecting with you, and you're a big part of these great memories that we've had. So definitely appreciate you as well. And again, those of you who are watching us, we appreciate you. YouTube.com, MyJBN online/join. That's where you can join and be a part of the Jericho broadcast networks. Okay. So while I wait for Drew to get back, obviously, what's going on right now. Are you guys? I mean, obviously, we're 3 days into the Olympics, and so I'm fascinated right now. I don't report to school until Friday, so I've got this week, really part of next week as well, even though I got teacher meetings and stuff coming up, but essentially this is a great time to kind of get into the groove of the Olympics. And one of the things that now the opening ceremony was on Friday, and I didn't realize this until a day or two later. And for anybody who watched the opening ceremony, not ceremonies, ceremony. Drew, did you watch the opening ceremony on Friday afternoon?
Yes, I did. I watched it Friday afternoon and then realized that they replayed it Friday night or Friday evening.
Were you observant of some of the imagery that the pre-show, there's always performances and things when the host country does. I mean, because and the reason I bring this up is because I started seeing all this social media videos and clips of I'm just going to say maybe whether it be questionable, satanic, maybe it definitely, if you were a Christian conservative, you might have been very offended. But like that, it seems like the Christian conservative people that I don't know how that gets into my algorithm, whether it be Instagram or X, but somehow those tweets and videos kind of end up in my stream, not even in my stream, but anyway, there was some imagery that was pretty questionable according to the people who video I ran. And that's why I'm wondering, did you happen to catch any of this? Did you see where you were? Because I didn't see anybody really talking about it on social media.
I did not pick up on it. I was not aware of it. I was not watching it at that level, to be honest with you.
All right.
I'll watch a couple of boats. I would go in the other room and do something. I would come back. There's another country on another 3-4 countries on the boat. Come back. Oh, there's a whole country. There's Germany all by themselves on the boat. Something along that line. I did like the mixture of.
Don't blame me. It's not me. It's EA. EA is Drew, the one that watched it. I didn't watch any of this. So it sounds like Drew is the one who's desensitized by all this.
I was not watching it at that level. I mean, some of the performances I paid attention to. Some of them I did not. It's just one of those things. The only imagery that I remember, it was towards the end when the horse was galloping along the river. And obviously he was on a boat, but they had the
pale white horse, right?
Yes. Yeah, that's really the only symbolism.
You didn't see that, and you weren't kind of like, what's going on here?
I was not.
Yeah.
You know how, hey Brian,
Yeah, what EA said right there. They got your brain desensitized, Drew. And take my name out of that, EA. That's Drew.
Well, Brian, you know what I was then? You know how people had those inside jokes and they drop those references, and there's one person in the room who has no clue as to what you're talking about. I didn't understand it. I was not looking for it. I would have been there to handle business. I wasn't there to do all that, but I was not watching it at that level. I was just waiting on the games to begin and try to catch some of this basketball and some of this boxing and all the other sports that I've been entering. Waiting on track to begin. Track did begin today. Did not catch it.
It started
earlier today.
Track started today?
There was an event today in track. I know swimming began. I thought I saw something began in track. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe that was a swimming event that I missed today.
Swimming and gymnastics are usually the big feature events in the first week. Like swimming was big the first weekend, along with gymnastics. Those are the two big events that they start on Saturday, and it'll run all the way till about Tuesday, Wednesday.
I did catch a little bit of boxing.
Okay.
Watched some field hockey.
I
even saw America get the gold in judo.
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you now.
I'm sorry, that wasn't judo. That was fencing. I'm sorry.
Fencing. Okay, so if you're not familiar with the Gold Zone, are you familiar with the Gold Zone? What they're doing with NBC is doing with it's very similar. Look, the name is not unique. It's guess what? The red zone for the Olympics. Exactly. So
yeah.
But if you have the MBC Sports app, and I stream, so I do Roku. I don't have. But if you are one of those people who stream, download the NBC app. And when you download the NBC app, if you have it connected with your cable internet provider or maybe somebody else's cable internet provider, then you can watch Gold Zone. Highly recommend it. Gold Zone, you can go. They go quad boxes. They show different events, and then of course they go to the feature. Anyway, that's how I spend. Matter of fact, that's what I'm watching now. I got the Gold Zone on. It's pretty fascinating.
About to say the red zone.
Yeah,
I've been bouncing between Peacock and then going to the.
Yeah, I'm not paying for Peacock. I'm sorry, I got to stream.
I'm sorry. I paid for Peacock. I paid for Peacock back for the year back when the Chiefs played on there doing the playoffs, knowing that the Olympics was coming up. So I paid for it for the whole year.
Oh, okay. Look at you.
Since it was half off, if I paid for it at that point in time, I got the whole year for $60.
Well, so there you go, taking advantage of the deal. Yeah.
I just went on ahead, and then now that NFL is going to be on Peacock in the fall, I'm glad I did pay for it also.
Exactly. I may need to go ahead and get that user code
because it's definitely not that price anymore.
Oh no, it's definitely not. No, indeed. So yeah, what sports are you watching? I mean, you talked about a few. I'm all over the place. Of course, I watch a lot of tennis, so for certain reasons. But anyway, I watch tennis, and so tennis has not been very, very good to me. I'll just say it like that. Although today I did enjoy watching Djokovic and Nadal, even though it took Nadal a whole set before he woke up. Actually, it took him a set and a half before he woke up, and almost made it interesting till it wasn't. Basketball is what it is. I'll tell you, speaking of basketball, I was supremely impressed by Team USA. I'm actually one of those people, Drew, that I was ready to find some money and put some money on France or Canada to win gold. I really was. I was very concerned about you, and that was because KD wasn't playing. But then, what do you know? Game one, KD comes
in the first half.
Hey, the Slim Reaper was back. Boy, he was so hot. And LeBron looked like he had dipped into the fountain of youth over there in Europe. I mean, this guy I just don't know when LeBron's going to break down, bro. I mean, it just is amazing what he
Will
can do.
LeBron play in LA in 28?
Oh, Jesus. How old will he be? 43? I hope. Now,
44?
that would be
44?
that would
43?
be
Yeah,
amazing.
he'd be 43.
That would be
He would
amazing
be
if LeBron
43.
is playing in LA in 2028. I don't see it happening, but pretty fascinating.
LeBron will retire and come back out of retirement just to play in LA in 28.
And
Yes,
speaking,
Barry. Just watched this before we came on the show. Women dominated Japan.
I'm glad Mary mentioned women's basketball. Do you look? Do you realize how dominant the women Team USA women's basketball has been in the Olympics?
56 in a row.
Yes, today 56 in a row. They've won the last seven consecutive gold medals. Now, this is the thing that I'm curious about. Did we lose somewhere? Because I remember we won in 84. Did we lose an Olympic somewhere in the late 80s or 90s? The Team USA's women, or did they not have women's basketball Olympics? I mean, I'm trying to do the math here because I know we won in 84, right? I think that was Lisa Leslie. No. That's Cheryl Miller. That was Cheryl Miller in 84.
Cheryl Miller.
So I'm trying to think, did we lose in women's basketball in like 88 or 92? Because 96 is when the gold medal streak started in Atlanta. 96.
Bronze in 92.
Ah, okay. Who did we lose to? Like China or Russia?
Spain.
Spain. Okay. See, that's a great trivia question. Who was the last team to beat USA in the Olympics? It was Spain, and you said what, 92?
92. And the women have won 9 of the 11 Olympics that they have played in.
Right.
Yeah, they
84. So that means 84 was the first one. 84 was the first one, if I'm not mistaken.
They first played in 76 in Montreal.
Oh, well, see, I'm still wrong. Okay. We didn't go in.
No,
8.
I'm sorry. Hold up. I'm sorry, Brian.
Come on
Spain,
now.
no, Spain is where they held the Olympics at
that
year.
Come on, Drew. I wasn't even expecting us to go down this road, but let's get our facts. Let's get our facts right. Come on, if we're gonna go down this road, let's get our facts right. Speaking of basketball, EA asked a great question. How do you not play Tatum the whole game? The same reason. Anyway, I'm not gonna get started. I'm just gonna say, hey, that Jaylen Brown not being in the Olympics team, that's ridiculous. So I'm not gonna cry any spilt milk over your hometown guy, Drew Tatum, not even getting off the bench. I love there's a picture and a meme that I tweeted of Tatum kind of sitting on the bench, just kind of looking like you or me if we were sitting on the bench, just kind of with this look. And it's like, but then again, if you're Jason Tatum, do you get it? Do you want to go in the ball game in the last minute and clean up time, or you rather just stay on the bench?
I mean, if you give me 5 minutes, then
he didn't even get 5 minutes, Drew. He didn't get 5 minutes.
I know. Well, he wasn't the only one, Brian. There was somebody from Indiana.
Halliburton didn't get off the bench either. And I'm not
exactly.
Look, I'm not mad because the way I think what Steve Kerr was trying to send a message, and he was trying to send the message that look, this team is going to be led by Steph, LeBron, KD, and everybody else is going to feed off of them. And so I think that team is explosive when those three guys are playing well. And I'm not mad about I'm not mad that Kerr went with those guys. And he probably played people during the, probably when you think back and look at those exhibition games that they played, Drew, that were close. He was probably playing some guys probably more than they needed to play, or maybe more than they were ready, or just weren't kind of showing their stuff. But I think he just rode the hot hands. He rode those guys. So let me see. Tamara T says she's watching boxing. I have no idea when the boxing schedule is. I've got a guy I follow on Twitter that tweets out the schedules, but I don't even know. I don't even know when boxing. I don't even know who is he, Tamara T. Put his name in there. So I know I have somebody to look up. Yeah, Marvin Allen said they didn't need Tatum. So the question is, Drew, South Sudan, who probably should have beaten USA when they played them, 101 to 100. They missed a putback. There was two guys that went for a putback at the same time. One of those guys backs off, they win that ball game. But the two guys got in each other's way, and they didn't get to put. So the question is, I haven't even looked and seen what the line is on South Sudan versus USA, but if it's 12 or 13 points, would you lay the 12? Let's say 12 and a half. Would you lay 12 and a half with USA, or would you take South Sudan and the points?
After the scare, I'm taking the USA, and I've got that information that you wanted on the women's basketball, Brian.
Mm-hmm. Who you got? What do you got?
Okay, the women are 72-3 all time in Olympic play, and have won 9 gold medals total, including 7 in a row, and the winning streak is now at 56 consecutive. Those 3 losses, they lost to Czechoslovakia in 76.
Okay, that's Montreal. That's understandable.
Taking the silver medal.
Okay.
We
didn't go in 80. We didn't go in 80.
Did not go in 84. They defeated South Korea to win the gold.
Okay.
88 defeated Yugoslavia to win the gold.
That was in Seoul, Korea.
92 lost to Cuba in the bronze medal. Defeated Cuba in the bronze medal game. Lost to
somebody in the semifinals.
Team United. Do not know who that would have been. Team United, and you've got CIS in parentheses.
That was probably one of those European conglomerate countries. That was probably about the breakup of the
after the breakup of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, right. And you had these different like Yugoslavia and other little countries that came together or something like that.
Okay. 96 defeated Brazil in Atlanta. 2000 defeated Australia in Sydney.
And then that's when the streak. 96 is when the streak started. And Australia had good teams because who they had the one girl, Lauren Jackson, if I remember her name. Australia had some pretty good teams. So yeah. But anyway, that
Atlanta is when the streak started, Brian.
Yeah, isn't that what I said?
No, you said Australia.
I'm saying
streak started in there.
Well, but what did you say about Australia? Did we lose to Australia?
No, they beat for the second goal. They beat Australia in Sydney. That was the second goal.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
04. In 04 in Athens, they beat Australia again to win the gold. 08 beat Australia in Beijing.
I told you, Australia. That's when they had your girl. They had your girl, Lauren Jackson, in those years.
Yeah. They won 3 in a row against Australia. 12, they defeated France.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to find that one loss.
Well, let me transition here because let me see.
I'm sorry. They lost twice in 76 in Japan. That's what it was.
Okay.
They lost to Japan. I mean, in Montreal. They lost to Japan.
Yeah, nobody's counting that. Nobody's counting 76.
Anyway.
Nobody counts 76 anyway.
I was alive.
I'm thinking the post 84 from 84 forward, they've only lost once, and that was in a semifinal game against who'd you say? Yugoslavia?
92.
No.
Yes.
It's not what you said.
They lost in 92.
Oh, so it was 92.
Yes.
So they won.
Since they've gone with the professionals, because I believe they were one cycle behind the Dream Team.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So 96 was that. was the first one with Lisa Leslie, Rebecca Lobo, all those players who started the WNBA.
Yes.
Were on the 96 team.
Exactly.
And that was the first.
Exactly.
That was the first professional team.
All right. All
So
right.
since then, they have not lost the gold.
All right.
Or
Amari
a game.
Jones. Hold on, Drew. Amari Jones is the boxer Tamara was saying that she was supporting. Tank. I don't know who Tank Davis is. Oh, okay, Tank Davis supposed to be there with US in boxing. Okay. All right. Anyway, that's always a big problem is learning. I'm trying to figure out who these stars are, like these names, these people. I mean, there's so much information these days. It's hard to figure out who the stars are. But let's talk about let's kind of bring it home with our own HBCU world because courtesy of my girl Keisha Kelly, Black College Experience, there are 10 athletes that have HBCU ties. And some of these names I hope I get right, and I'm gonna apologize if I get them wrong. All right. You've got, and I think in her graphic, I don't even know the graphic, but she's got the quad the 9 box here that she created. So I think in the top left is Quanera Hayes of Livingstone College. She runs the USA 400-meter dash. And then I'm assuming going from box left to right on row 1, that's Akeem Sirleaf, who went to North Carolina A&T. He runs for USA in the 4x100 relay. Then also in the third square, top right, is Idosi Ibadan. He went to Hampton, and he runs for Nigeria in the 800-meter race. Second row, you've got Jessica Gibbsy. She went to Howard of the Ivory Coast. She runs the 200-meter jet.
Côte d'Ivoire.
Yeah, you know what? I was working on the pronunciation, and then when I got to it, I froze up. Center square is Joseph Amoa of Coppin State. He runs for Ghana. He runs the 4x100. He's also the captain and a flag bearer. He was a flag bearer for Ghana. Then you have second row, far right square. Let me make sure I get these. I'll tell you these names. I'm going to say it's possibly Sade. It's spelled like Sade. Sade McCreath Tardil. She went to Bethune-Cookman. She runs for Canada, a sprinter, 4x100 relay. All right. Then we get down to the bottom left square. Danielle Williams went to Johnson C. Smith. She runs for Jamaica. She runs the hurdles. Down in the bottom center square, Chidi Okizi of Hampton. He runs for Nigeria. He's a sprinter, runs the 4x400 relay. Then you have bottom square, bottom right, Monet Nichols, who went to Bethune-Cookman. She runs for the United States. She competes for the U.S. in the long jump. So you've got 8 runners, a long jump athlete, and then, of course, you got one basketball player, Ezine Kalu Phelps, who went to Savannah State. She plays, obviously, basketball for Nigeria. And matter of fact, Drew, timely that we mention her, because just today she put up 19 points in what many might call an upset over Australia, 75-62. She scored 19 points. That was a game-high 19 points in the opening round for Nigeria over Australia, who, what did we say? Australia, who'd been a 3-time silver medalist got beat. So those are our fantastic 10 or our super 10, top 10 HBCU athletes competing in the Olympics. Yeah, so just in case you guys want somebody to kind of follow along with and look, obviously we'll see most of these athletes in the track and field events, but we gotta, if you're not, obviously we're gonna be rooting for Team USA's women, but hey, I'd love to kind of have some side stakes on Nigeria. I'm gonna have to kind of look at the field, Drew. I'd love to kind of see, Nigeria to medal, or can Nigeria get a bronze or a silver? I got to see what those odds are for Nigeria to medal. Might be worth looking into. Anyway, any thoughts or comments you want to add in there, Drew, before we go to commercial break?
No, congratulations for all those representing their country, and especially for those ones who are still current college athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think who was the young man from UAB? Caleb Snowden, I think was the young man.
Yeah, he did not although he took second in the Olympic trial, he did not have an Olympic qualifying mark. So the USA took someone else who had a qualifying mark from a previous event.
Mm-hmm. When we come back, we're going to talk. We're going to get into a lot of things related to the media days that just happened last week. All the talking season is over. Media days are done. But when we come back, I want to get into this thought, and as we start to kind of break down and look at the recent news of the NCAA and the House's settlement and how that will affect HBCUs. I came across a story that the headline reads 75% of U.S. Olympians played in college. Future of games hinges on fallout from NCAA athlete payouts. I'm like, wow. So interesting read. It's from the AP. So I'm just going to tease that and sit it on the shelf. And when Drew and I come back, we're going to talk about a lot of things related to that settlement and also kind of put a bow on the football media days that took place over the past, 3 weeks, Drew? Past 3 weeks. Whew. All right. Thanks for sticking in and watching the BCSN Sports Wrap. We appreciate everybody's support over the last 7 years. And we'll be back right after these words. Don't go too far.
Supermarket sushi, really?
No. Wait, Troy, you work here?
I'm never not working. Like Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology, up to 100% dandruff protection, even between washes.
Never not working, huh?
Oh, Troy, you're such a good teacher.
Yeah, I know. Never not working. Never not working. Never, ever not working.
Are you serious?
Never not working. Dandruff protection that's never not working. Head & Shoulders Scalp Shield technology.
It's never too early to plant the seed, to share the tradition, and instill a sense of pride in your HBCU with your little ones. HBCU Pride and Joy Children's Boutique helps you share your school spirit with a wide selection of adorable kids apparel and accessories officially licensed from your favorite HBCU. Visit hbcupridejoy.com and follow us on all social media at HBCU Pride Joy on Facebook and Twitter.
This is Brian Fulford. A.D. Drew and I are co-hosts of the BCSN Sports Wrap. We talk about all things related to HBCU athletics. From the games, teams, coaches, and fan interest stories, we cover it all. You can find our shows on Facebook at BCSN Sports Wrap, YouTube at MyJBN Online, and everywhere you listen to podcasts like Anchor, Spotify, Google, and Apple Podcasts. You can also find the show on the Jericho Broadcast Network's app. Make sure to download. We look forward to you joining the conversation and being a part of the show.
You're looking for the latest information on Southern University sports, the Southwestern Athletic Conference, and HBCU athletics. There's only one place to go. Tune in to the Carlos Brown Show, exclusively on the Black College Sports Network.
Welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. A.D. Drew and Brian Fulford. I'm Brian Fulford. That's A.D. Drew. Appreciate you guys coming in. Hit the thumbs up and the like button if you would. However, and wherever you're watching us on Facebook, if you're watching us on YouTube, say hello to everybody on Instagram Live and on X who's watching us. If you want to come be a part of the chat, you can come do so on one of those. You can even chat from Twitter or X if you want to do so. You can also chat with us via YouTube and Facebook. All right. Before we'll come back, Drew, to what I teased a little bit about that article. But let's transition over to Football Media Days, which wrapped up. The MEAC's Football Media Day was last week. Shout out to Dr. Cavill, who got a chance to be there in the morning session and partnered with the MEAC Digital Network for sort of a preview or a pre-show to the big show that they did on ESPN with Jay and Tiffany. And I asked you the question offline. And so, as we like to do, who won the Football Media Days, Drew? If you look at it from a conference perspective,
Define win. Are you talking visually? Are you talking quote? Are you talking? What are we talking about?
All factors included. I'm not going to break it down. Like, let's take it like gymnastics. Like, this is the all-around competition. So we're not just talking, stage setup. We're not talking about media accessibility. We're not talking about viewership. We're just talking all around conference media day. Who did it the best and who needs to tweak some things? And let's paraphrase this. How many of them did you go to? Also, I think that's important to put into perspective. How many did you attend?
I personally attended 2 of the 4.
All right.
And Dr. Cavill may I hope he's still in because I would love to hear him chime in because he did 3 of the 4. Yeah, he did not
he didn't get to the CIAA.
And let's start right there. Let's start with the CIAA.
Okay.
CIAA, you have got to get your timing better. Previously, you've butted up against the MEAC, going right before the MEAC. You've gone either a day before the MEAC, maybe 2 days before the MEAC. If I remember last year, it was 1 day between the CIAA and the MEAC.
Yeah.
This year, you went 1 day after the SWAC.
In a different region. I remember last year we talked about the proximity between where the CIAA was having their media day and the MEAC. Right. This time there's like no proximity between.
Right, which kind of made sense. If you're HBCU media, last year it was doable because you could be in Salem 1 day and you could be in Norfolk the next day. Right. Although it's a little difficult going back to back in days because of if you do a full setup, how much it takes to set up your equipment.
Right.
Point blank. So CIAA has to get its timing better. And then when you add in the fact that ever since the MEAC SWAC Challenge has been in Atlanta, the MEAC SWAC Challenge press conference has always been the day after the SWAC Media Day.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, John Grant does that for a reason, director of the MEAC SWAC Challenge, because he knows the SWAC media, and who a lot of them also cover the MEAC.
252 credentials, according to Dr. Charles McClellan.
or in Birmingham,
Mhm.
which is a 2-hour ride to Atlanta.
Mhm.
So it's just makes sense because a lot of the faces that we saw, especially the ones for the two parties that are in the event this year, Florida A&M and Norfolk State, made the 2-hour ride to Atlanta the next day.
Mhm. Yep.
So CIAA, why would you want to compete with that?
Yeah, I don't
If
understand the thinking.
If CIAA would have been Thursday, that would have been perfect because you drive to Atlanta, you do the BXWAC press conference, catch an airplane from Atlanta to Roanoke. The actual hotel where the CIAA holds their press conference is a less than a 10-minute Uber ride from the airport to the hotel, and I know this because I've done it. So that would have been perfect. Boom, you make your plane, you fly to Roanoke, come back, boom. And then you come back to Atlanta, pick up your car, and drive home. Would have made perfect sense if CIAA would have been on Thursday. But they didn't do that. So
yeah, I don't understand that. They've done this a couple of days where I feel like they've done this on Wednesdays. Like the last 2 years, haven't they been on Wednesdays? Like,
yes, they have been on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And the BAC has traditionally been on Thursday or Friday. The BAC moved up to Tuesday this year. But CIAA, I still fault you because of the 4 conferences, you were the last to announce your media day.
And it wasn't even close. It was by like 2 weeks after.
A month. A month.
So it sounds like we're taking off some serious points.
SWAC was first out the gate. SIAC was second. BAC was third. And honestly, CIAA really did not put out an official release.
No, they didn't. They did not.
Until July.
Yeah.
They did not. And the only reason I found out about it is because I had inside information talking to a few people in the CIAA. Matter of fact, when I was in Phoenix, and this was the 3rd week in June, there was a person there who worked for a CIAA school who was at the same event that I was. And I asked that person, have y'all announced when y'all are going to do the press conference and where I can get my credentials from this year? And she said, that person said no. And it's like, I'll work on it, see if I can find out some information and let you know something by the end of the week. And I think I put in our private chat maybe 2 days later on the date that we knew, but it still was not public domain. That was just some inside information that I released to our group of people so that we can start planning appropriately.
It's very curious that the CIAA, how do I say this nicely? They do so many other things well that it's surprising that they haven't, in my opinion, been able to figure out this football media day thing and get it right. You know, it's like, and I don't know why. It's odd because graphically, the setup for the CIAA, everything is good. Now I know, they're not
the stuff they do off-site, the camps, and all the community stuff.
All of that
they
stuff
do that right.
Yeah, I mean, graphically, even accessibility. I mean, you could find it wasn't hard to find the CIAA media day.
Hold that put a pin in that accessibility, but keep going.
So yeah, I'd have to look like this. They were, in terms of viewership and ability to watch, it was more accessible than their Division II brethren.
Definitely.
Yeah. So with that said, it sounds like in the top 4, you know, and so let me when we talk about all around, it sounds like you're docking CIAA some points and you're putting them 4, which is curious. Is that am I right on that? Are you putting them at 4?
I am not putting them 4.
Okay, I didn't think so.
No,
SIAC would be 4.
I am putting SIAC 4.
Yes.
Now, my brother, Dr. Anthony Holloman, he and I go way back. We go back for years. But, and I want other people to chime in because we were there. It's hard for us to know what else is going on live. Was anybody able to watch live coverage of the SIAC Media Day outside of the Black College Sports Network?
Great question. I don't think so.
And I know some of our peers in the industry, as we bumped into them over the next couple of media days, because SIAC was first, said, thank y'all. Y'all were the only people that we were able to watch live. And these are our competitors.
Mm-hmm.
And I use competitors loosely because we use different platforms, but we all talk to each other in the industry. So I have to put the SIAC 4 just because of that fact that you were not able to find the SIAC live.
And have you and this even brings me to this question. And I don't know if I have seen it. You know, one thing I've seen from everybody else, and I'm just going to do a quick search here. You've seen everybody else's media days online via YouTube.
Except
no, maybe okay, so they're up. No, hold on. This is from a year ago. Oops. Except the SIAC. I can say it now.
I'm looking at it right now. If you look at SIAC Media Day, you see two
clips.
You see two you see us.
No, one clip.
You see us.
Yep.
You see Block Sports, who was a couple of feet down from us.
Yeah.
And I know Michael Jefferson was usually live.
Uh-huh.
And then you see clips from HBCU Game Day, because HBCU Game Day was there, but they were not live.
Right. So
what do you not see? What do you not see?
Nothing. Yeah.
The conference.
Even from their television partner, I don't see anything. And you know,
we gonna leave their thoughts to the.
I'm just stating. I'm just saying. But it goes to the point of saying you had this whole stage set up, right? Like they do great. Like the SIC does great videos. Like I like
optics.
The videos. The optics are good. They do some great videos to kind of get you all into the mood of talking about who the predicted order is, and here is so and so. They got my guy Mark, who's up there in Atlanta.
That they won. The SIC won that out of the 4 conferences.
Right. If this was like individual events in terms of video packages, SIC wins the video package competition. But it's like everything else is like, I don't understand how none of this is visible. I don't understand how you're not recording this. I don't understand how you're not making this accessible within 2 to 3 days of the event. And, you know, that was one of the things I wished we had recorded, but I know there were
our vantage point was not optimal to record what you asked
but
us.
They don't even let us get to that vantage point is where I was go, Drew.
It's not us. I want to make sure everybody understands. Not singling us out where they have the media set up at in relation to where the video screens and everything else is, not only for us, but for HBCU game day, block sports, HBCU experience was there. The individual
but you have
schools.
a stage. I know what you're saying.
We're off to the side. We do not have a straight up shot.
But you have a stage presentation, right? That's what I'm getting at. We have a stage presentation, and nobody is recording that. Nobody is rebroadcasting that.
No. Even the commercial television stations were off to the side. And the NBC affiliate, the ABC affiliate were off to the side.
All right. So, and then I also heard they weren't serving any kind of breakfast or lunch or drinks or anything. Drew, is that true? Can you confirm
Not unless you bought a Hall of Fame ticket.
That's ridiculous. That right there. No love for the media. All right. So I think we're both in agreement that we're going to put SIC at number 4. Would you move? And then that way, I think the CIAA would move to 3.
Yes.
Although, I did enjoy
just based on timing. The
timing, that's a big, they get a big slap,
big deduction
for the timing. The timing before the announcement and the actual positioning of the media day, horrible. Absolutely horrible. You've got to find a way to schedule that thing. Even if look, get on the phone.
They got a zero on that.
All these commissioners are supposed to be talking to one another, right? They have this little subcommittee where all 5 of them meet and talk about these great things they're doing. Hell, get together and say, hey, when are y'all planning to have your media days? So that we don't be one day after or one day before a conference. And maybe if we give ourselves a day in between, we might pick up some extra media coverage. Just a thought.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
Now, for the other 2.
All right, this will be interesting. MEAC versus SWAC. And hold on. Before we talk MEAC versus SWAC, we didn't get a chance. Let's break down the MEAC for a second. Well, obviously we were.
Let's get this out the way. Then we'll come back to the MEAC.
Okay. All right. Go ahead. Okay. So let's get it out the way. MEAC versus SWAC Media Day. Again, this is all around. So
all around. Which is why I wish Dr. Cavill was on here, because Dr. Cavill attended both the MEAC and the SWAC.
Right.
So I have to take out any bias I have of actually having physically attended one and watch the other, if I'm making sense.
I get it.
Yes.
All right. Come on. Let me hear. Who is your? Let's not give me 2 without just. You can start. Just give me who's 1. Who's your number 1?
Well, I'm gonna just talk about a couple different comparisons. Then I give you number 1.
All right.
SWAC. Dual broadcast. Dual simultaneous broadcast. You had the ESPN broadcast with Jay and Tiffany.
Yeah.
And then you had the SWAC digital broadcast, which featured the crew from HBCU Game Day and our Charles Bishop.
Correct. Yep. SWAC Digital Network. Yep.
But on the flip side, you had the MEAC live broadcast on ESPN with what I would like to call the college game day version, the pregame show.
The pregame show.
Yes. The MEAC. The MEAC, what they call it? MEAC Digital?
MEAC Digital Network. MEAC Digital
Network.
On
the MEAC
with
Digital.
Dr. Cavill and
with our very own Dr. Cavill.
And Lynn Thompson.
Lynn Thompson, former athletic director at Bethune College. And Lynn Thompson playing pseudo SID, because you can see Lynn Thompson running around in the background, going and getting all the athletes and the coaches and making sure they came over to the set.
Yes.
While Dr. Cavill held down the coverage by himself. So, which was also simulcast here on the Black College Sports Network. So, 2 very different approaches.
Yes.
2 very different approaches.
Yes.
If you talk about the graphics themselves, the SWAC, the MEAC hands down with their stage.
No,
MEAC wins the stage every year, but the video presentation on SWAC Digital with the HBCU game day coverage, I think that was a better secondary show visually than the MEACs. Did the MEAC's secondary show, because I'm considering Dr. Fugaville with their pre-show versus the SWAC Digital. I think that was a better visual presentation. Both of them full of great information. But
let me say this. Let me say here's the hard part about the setup, because I think your difference in the setups. The SWAC stuck with the same format on the stage as they did with the digital, which is 2 hosts, 1 coach. Then on the side, you had
Bishop
interview. Well, just like they had Simone Stanley on the ESPN, she would interview the players.
Yes.
And whereas Charles Bishop was so you never had more than 3 people in a spot.
Correct.
On one camera, 1 angle shot, no more than 3. And I thought that was a winning formula. I thought that was winning. That worked. It didn't seem overcrowded, and you didn't have to worry about multiple microphones and other things like that. That was a winning formula. So I think that was the big difference for me of one versus the other. But go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be honest, Brian. Do I have to choose one?
Yes. You have to choose one, because
I'm gonna go with
Russell Hayes thinks MEAC won today, and I'm going to disappoint you, Russell. I personally don't think
I'm gonna say SWAC.
I think the SWAC did win this year. I think the SWAC won this year. Interesting.
Oh, here's the answer that we were waiting on.
All right, so Doc is now. We have to scratch off HBCU AC because they didn't have a football media day. Now again, we're talking media day. So he ranked MEAC 1 based on accessibility, hospitality, marketability, quality, strategy, and opportunity. I respectfully, I think I got to disagree.
But I like the way he quantified it.
He did, and so with that said, that's his thoughts, that's his opinion, and yes, he quantified it. And again, for me, here's what I liked again about the SWAC, in that yes, you had 2. And that 2 also
simultaneous. Those are 2 simultaneous, which is why I give the SWAC a little bit of a leg up.
And you know what? Is that good versus bad? Because here's the thing: when you have 2 simultaneous, your eyes can only watch what? 1 at a time.
One at a time. So
I get where maybe Doc is hedging to saying, if you're having a 2-hour network on the MEAC digital network, then you transition to the TV, your eyes all follow. Versus when you have 2 simultaneous, your eyes are like this. Who do I want to watch? And then we were live.
You gotta watch one, and you gotta watch one live, and then go back and watch one later.
Yeah, and then if you add us into the little component, we had a live feed. So then you had 3, right? 3 live streams. Look, Jamie,
they definitely won the palette award, Brian. Jamie.
The menu. Yeah. Now, when we start talking about the food, now I had to ask Doc what the lunch was like for the MEAC. But right now, MEAC SWAC Challenge presser gets a nod over the SWAC
palette award,
the best lunch setup in the business. Yeah. So I had, and it's slight. Look, I know a lot of you guys get really impressed about the MEAC stage, and you like stuff flying around all behind you. You get all impressed when they say, "Oh, well, this one is South Carolina State," and then you see the graphic turn around. They got 6 teams. There's only 6 teams in the conference. Come on, stop it. It's 6 graphics that keep floating on the screen. And so, yes, everything goes green with Norfolk State. And then here comes Howard, and it turns to blue. And y'all get all excited and giddy about all them. You get I get a trip over the stuff that really excites folks. And I'm sorry, man. I thought the SWAC hit a home run. I thought the SWAC.
Brian, I have to give the SWAC credit for one, and it has nothing to do with, well, it does have to do with what you see, but the logistics of pulling off 2 simultaneous broadcasts with 12 teams and all those people in the media room, you know, between the video press conference that was going on simultaneously that a lot of people did not see, the radio row, just the logistics of seeing that being pulled off and having done logistics on that side and knowing how hard that is to do. I guess that's why I have a soft heart for the SWAC when it comes to this. The fact that they're able to pull that off, it seems like year after year without a hiccup.
I'm not sure what Jeremiah said. When will the SWAC get a microphone for every interviewee? I don't. What is Jeremiah? What are you referring to? Please. Here's now. Watch this. Watch where I'm going here. I think this. I don't know what the numbers were, and maybe somebody can tell us what the numbers of media that were at the MEAC, right? And 252 credentialed media were there for the SWAC. But still, there are, even though the SWAC, see, here's the thing. The SWAC has agreements where they have a schedule, just to give you guys some behind the scenes stuff on how this works. So they have their main stage, the ESPN stage. They have the SWAC digital stage. They have HBCU Go, which has a setup it's a little different than ours, but look, HBCU Go is doing the same thing all the other content media people are doing. They got 2 backdrops and they're talking to coaches and players, but the SWAC makes their coaches go there, right? They make them go. So you have to go there. Then they also require the coaches to go do a Zoom call. And then they also, I think, require the coaches and players to do a photo shoot. So everybody has 5 obligations. But in about a 2 hour window. Right. So in a midst
2 to 3 hour window.
In the midst of that 5 stops rotation, the SIDs are trying to get them to various media. Oh, see, no lunch. Oh, heck, you can't. I'm sorry. Okay, great breakfast versus lunch. I don't know. I think you'd rather have the lunch versus breakfast, in my opinion. But that's just me. But back to what I was saying.
I go to McDonald's on my way to the venue.
The 5 stops that the SWAC requires. Now, the disadvantage of that is that you can't get to everybody that's at the SWAC. And this is why I'm going to say this, and I said it last year, and I'm going to say it again this year. And I feel I have more backing this year because I have more media people that agree with me. It's time for the SWAC to split up the SWAC Media Day to either one of 2 formats, Drew. They need to
morning, afternoon.
Yes, they need to do a morning and an afternoon, or they need to really consider doing 2 days. Because not only I went back and look at the videos again. Not only did we not get to speak to everybody, there are other entities, other media folks who I talked to who said they didn't get a chance to talk to every coach, or every set of players. And it's hard because it's really about when are you available. And
Brian, you forgot to fit something else in there.
What?
During those 5 events, somewhere in there you got to fit lunch.
Yes,
The players
find
and
a
the
way to
coaches
eat.
have to fit lunch.
Exactly.
Because you're talking about probably close to 400 people in that venue.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't get lunch
I-
within that first 30 minutes, even though it's open for
second year in a row,
an hour and a half,
second year in a row, Drew dipped
You're
out
not
on
gonna
me
eat.
and was like, I'm gonna go eat while I'm still either interviewing or chasing
bro,
people
I
down.
told you to go eat. I told you better go now. I gave you your opportunity. That's your fault. Because Drew gonna get his plate.
So I had some kind of pulled pork and a salad or something. I don't know, man. I heard there was chicken. I ain't even get, who knows? I don't know. But anyway, I heard there was chicken. For the second year in a row, I heard there was chicken. I ain't getting none of it. But anyway,
it's chicken and black folk, Brian. Now you know better.
Well, look, come on now. We're in Birmingham, Alabama. You know they're gonna serve you some chicken. But anyway, so I will say this: it is time for the SWAC to move because you had there's so much, and I really think if you're not gonna do the 2-day format, and look, I was talking with a good friend offline, another media member, and we were saying, well, there were coaches who had late afternoon flights, and I said, this is Birmingham, Alabama. This is not Itabena. You can get out of Birmingham in the evening. They have flights that leave in the evening. You could have, but
here's the thing, Brian. A lot of people, and I know Esteemed Dr. Cavill is one of them, like direct flights.
Oh shit.
Those direct flights are
That's
leaving to
personal preference.
Right. Those direct flights are leaving 2-3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Personal.
If you notice, the ones who hung out with us, Brian, and who were there to the end were the ones who drove.
Okay, so your personal. I understand wanting to have a direct flight. I get it, and I understand not wanting to be doing carryovers or layovers, right, in airports. I get it, but that shouldn't be. Again, you're getting 250 media members in, and we talk about the growth of this conference, right? Continuing to grow. Now, the SEC, who used to do their media days in the same city, they're moving around all over the place. They're taking bids, Drew. So, I think that I don't even know where the SEC was this year.
Dallas.
Thank you. And guess what? Next year they'll probably be in a different city. So that speaks. So there's room for the SWAC to really take advantage of 2 days. And heck, even if you wanted to do something like what the MEAC and maybe another conference does, where they do some kind of youth camp, make it worthwhile for the student athletes and the coaches to come. I don't know. I still say what you could do, Drew, is if you did a 2-year trial, try this for 2 years. In the morning session, and here, watch this. I'm going to give you a 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. SWAC East. Have lunch from 1 to 2. And then at 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. have the SWAC West. And then you alternate it the next year. Now, if you're part of the SWAC East and you want to try to get a late afternoon flight out, you can. If you're the SWAC West, guess what? You might have to stay overnight. But guess what? You can also maybe you don't have to come in for the whole first night, the Tuesday night, the night before. But you probably still want to.
So you're saying one night either way, either the night before or the night after.
Exactly. Maybe. I'm just tossing that out there as a possibility. But then by the fact that you're switching it the next year, you open the door.
Here's your problem, Brian.
Make it equitable for everybody.
Here's the one problem I see with your argument. Okay. And I love everything that you're saying. This event is broadcast on ESPN Plus. Will ESPN Plus give them the time? Will ESPN
you forgot
give them
ESPN
the
Plus is nothing but
6 hours?
ESPN Plus is the same thing that we are, Drew. It's a broadcast channel that is
But
not.
will they give? But will
station.
this thing is? Let's be real. This thing is partially controlled by that contract with ESPN.
Hey,
Will ESPN give them the time to
guess
do
what?
it?
The SWAC is
extended multiple hours of one day or
in
over
their
2 days.
digital network, Drew. They can move it to their digital network if they really want to, or they have another media market. Guess what? Another partner. So here's what, Drew. Guess what? Maybe you tell one media partner you get day one, and you tell the other media partner you can have day two. And guess what? You switch it the next year. So guess what? Year one, I had the East. Year two, I had the West. I just hate the fact that
break.
I hate the last thought. I hate the thought that you know who got to talk. You know who gets to talk to every coach? Zoom callers, the Zoom media. So if I had, instead of coming to the SWAC, if I had stayed here in my house and done our interviews and recorded the interviews, conversations with the media people, I would have spoke with every coach that was at SWAC Media Day. Even though were there, could touch them, shake hands with them,
invested our time and money,
but we didn't get a chance to talk to every one of them. So maybe next year, Drew, what we have to do is we have to find a way to have somebody be on a Zoom call and be able to record and be a part of the Zoom media. So that way we guaranteed that we're going to talk to everybody. That's or we have a sort of a second recording area where when we miss somebody or we have people waiting around that we just kind of move to the side and have an interview with them. I don't know. But so again, it sounds like we're both going SWAC 1, MEAC 2.
Able to make it due to the obligations, then we have to keep that in mind.
Wait a minute. Say again. You skipped on me.
If we have a person who's not able to make it due to personal obligations, not able to make media day due to other obligations, a member of the team, hey,
yes,
you got Zoom today.
Right. So again, SWAC Media Day 1, MEAC 2, CIAA 3, SIAC 4. Yeah.
And Dr. Cavill's ranking, BAC 1, SWAC 2, SIAC 3, CIAA 4.
Totally oppo of us. Okay. All right. Well, hey, it's all good. Let's take a short break. Want to recap the selections and then kind of bring up some of that conversation that we were talking about in regards to the new NCAA house settlement and what that is, what it looks like, and how it will or might affect HBCU conferences. You're watching the BCSN SportsWrap right here on the Black College Sports Network. We'll be back in just a moment.
The Cuvée Group is a Florida-based marketing and training consulting firm. We help businesses communicate to their target audience and engage them in conversation. We also help to expand their audiences, which will ultimately result in growth for those organizations. In addition to being a certified constant contact specialist, my colleagues and I are also certified in John Maxwell Leadership Principles. We use these proven principles to conduct workshops, training, and private coaching sessions for individuals and companies looking to take things to the next level. Contact us to schedule a free consultation. Issues today, don't delay, call Cuvée.
This is the Dean of the College of HBCU Sports, Kenyatta Cavill of Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Come mix it up in the lab where the course lecture is in session every Tuesday from 6 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time on Facebook Live, YouTube Spreaker, or the BCSN app. as we discuss all things about the HBCU sports culture, including exploring the week that was in the sporting HBCU diaspora, as well as the upcoming week of HBCU sports. With me, the Dean, the College of HBCU Sports, on Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab with Mike Washington and Charles Bishop. Course lecture dismissed.
From novice to aficionado, find yourself here. High quality cigars plus personal customer service. Slow Burn is Waco's only mobile cigar lounge, featuring a meticulous, curated collection of premium cigars. Visit our website, www.slowburnwaco.com. That's www.slowburnwaco.com.
All right, welcome back to the BCSN SportsWrap. Bryan and A.D. here. Drew, coming back out of the break, what you want to get into? What you want to mention or say?
I just want to say, if you have a business out there who wants to advertise with us at the Black College Sports Network, please get in touch with us. Hit us up on our private chats. You can hit me on Twitter at BCSN Drew, Bryan at DRB365, and invest in the Black College Sports Network. You see the ads running all the time. Why not have your business or a business of a friend of yours support the Black College Sports Network?
I'm also add a little note there. Anybody, if you want to send an email, you can advertise with the BCSN. Send us an email, info@myjbn.com. And what we'll do is we'll get in touch, seeing some information about the opportunities to sponsor and advertise with us. Obviously, we got some great projects that we're working on. Looking to really expand, especially the BCSN Game Time show, as we're setting up locations that we will be broadcasting at for various Saturdays coming up this fall. So great opportunity if you're a sponsor and advertiser. Maybe you want to sponsor or be a part of our shows. Of course, our show. Usually we're on Sunday nights. I don't know, Drew. Do we want to think about going to Mondays in the fall?
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
No.
So Sunday night is our show.
This is just our summer our summer break, our summer schedule. You know, we've been in the education field. You know, you work four 10-hour days during the summer instead of 5 regular days during the summertime. That's what we're doing right now.
I don't even think they're working 4 10-hour days. It's more like 4.
Well, that's what they schedule to work.
Okay. Yeah. So we'll be back on Sundays coming up here, and maybe starting as soon as this upcoming Sunday. And then every Sunday after that, of course, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab will be Tuesdays and Thursdays primarily. And then once the season starts, they usually do a Sunday morning show, kind of give you that fresh reaction of the games. One of the first shows to give you some fresh reaction to the games that were just played on Saturday. Of course, the ONG Strike Zone appears every Wednesday night covering Florida A&M athletics. We've also got new episodes of Brave Talk with Charles Edmond covering Alcorn State sports. That's a podcast. Obviously, he does some things with his 91.7 FM network, and then we rebroadcast those here on the BCSN Pod Zone. So you can be a part of that. And you can also get down and be a part of the Carlos Brown Show every Saturday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, as Carlos Charles Coach Pedway and A.D. Wheeler-Brown all get together. The panel, as they are known, the panel gets together and they chop it up, talking about the latest news, not only with Southern University, but the SWAC and other HBCU. So, okay. Yeah, Edwin said, yeah, Monday. I think that, Edwin, I would love to do Mondays because here's my problem, Drew, about Sundays. Sundays, I don't have enough time to, soak up the Saturday games and watch my NFL games. Like, I'm like, every Sunday is a panic, but I don't have enough time, especially if I'm on the road, which sounds like we may be on the road more. I don't know how I'm going to get certain things done in the morning, if you know what I'm talking about. I got a schedule, Drew. I don't know how I'm going to get this stuff. So I'm panicking already, trying to figure out. I'd love to be one of those people that could do stuff in advance. Like, but my role ain't like that. My bankroll ain't like that, where I can be doing that. Back, damn you, Edwin! I can't cut back on the Colts. We're actually gonna win more than 10 games this year. Damn it! So bite your tongue. Okay. I'll come back to the conference recaps and the predicted order finishes and all that stuff, because we're not, we want to kind of, the next question we're going to ask is who got it right and who got it wrong. But let's kind of transition, Drew, over to the recent news over the weekend that the NCAA and the House, the Congress, the settlement was officially filed with the court. So I'm going to read an article here, or I'm going to just spotlight a few things from an article from a website called Business of College Sports, written by Christy Dawson, or Dewson maybe. And the title says, Breaking Down the House Settlement for Back Pay and Revenue Sharing. And just to sort of read the first couple paragraphs, and then we can kind of get into what this means, Drew. The House settlement has officially been filed with the court, which means we're one step closer to it becoming a reality, pending other procedural steps and final approval, which won't occur until September or sometime in 2025. The settlement would end both the House broadcast, video games, and NIL. Carter, which is a lawsuit about compensation limits, and Hubbard, which is Alston Award cases. So you have 3 different cases going on, right? So again, there's a settlement that would end these cases. However, after attorneys and commentators have expressed concern that the settlement not only invites new litigation over the terms, but also doesn't solve all of the outstanding litigation in college sports. As previously reported, the back pay portion of the settlement will see $2.75 billion with a B in damages go to athletes over a 10-year period. The total value of new payments and benefits is expected to be more than $20 billion, that's a B, over the next 10 years. The proposed settlement, I'm paraphrasing, I'm just reading through here quickly. The proposed settlement is 133 pages. So, I mean, it's a good read for those of you who like reading legal briefs and all that stuff. And I guess the plaintiff's counsel, Haggins Berman, if you check their website, they have additional information regarding the settlement. But in essence, Drew, what came out of this is not only you have the various back pay terms, but what we also saw, Drew, was the change that the NCAA and I guess the changes that the NCAA are going to undertake as it relates to scholarships and the number of scholarships, especially in major sports like football, men and women's basketball, volleyball, baseball, softball, significant numbers. So let's just talk about that for a second, Drew, and kind of what were some of the major takeaways in this whole increase in scholarship limits, which kind of came out of this, which is part of that settlement.
Well, if you take a look at it, we saw that the limits for all of the sports pretty much went up. Football on the FBS level went up from 85 to 105. Women's basketball stayed the same. Men's basketball added 2 additional scholarships, went from 13 to 15. A few other sports, major sports, I believe softball went from 13 to 25. And I'm going off the top of my head, and baseball went from 11.7 to 35. Those are the major ones that we as HBCUs tend to compete in, and there's information out there on the rest of them on what they went up to. So with all that being said, although this doesn't look like it's going to affect us as HBCUs outside, we know we've got to pay back money, just like every Division I institution has to pay back money. But a lot of it looks like but there's going to be some interesting side effects from this. Going from 85 to 105 with a hard limit at the 105, do we now know what we have eliminated, Brian?
No.
We've eliminated the walk-on the Division I level. That walk-on at Alabama, Auburn, Georgia, Texas, LSU, whatever your big institution is in your state, Florida, that essentially used to be the practice player. They rarely travel, but they were there then. They are a critical part of the team. That position is gone now. So, yes, they're going to get 20 more athletes. Where are they going to get those 20 athletes from, Brian?
Great question.
So, going from 85 to 105, how many of those ones above the 85 actually are going to earn a scholarship at their current university? Who are those walk-ons at this point in time? They're probably walk-ons for a reason. I give you 4 to 5, Ryan, maybe 5, and I think I'm being generous with that 5 number. So they're going to pull some more. Obviously, they're going to be able to get a few more players out of the portal. But what's going to wind up happening is maybe some of those athletes who had to go down to FCS will wind up back on some of these big college rosters. Then again, maybe not. They don't want to be stuck at the end of the bench. Practice players, obviously student athletes want the opportunity to play. So we're going to have to sit back and watch and see what that trickle down effect is going to be. Same thing when it comes to basketball. And like I say, what's key to remember, these are hard roster limits. You've in anything above 105 football, anything above 15 in basketball cannot be on your roster anymore.
But all the scholarships are equivalency, though, Drew. So
the scholarships used to be head count.
Right. So it says all scholarships are equivalency, and that means that they can all be partial. So now you don't have to pay full. So yes, maybe the term walk on is gone away, but maybe instead of giving no monies, maybe you're now required to give some money.
Yeah, but the problem is you still only have 15 bodies in basketball, Brian.
Well, okay.
You know, there was the big issue. We'll take FAMU. We know there was a big to do about FAMU's roster with the 19/20 players that they had. Right. That problem just went away.
Yeah.
So, and you know, we're not going to talk about football because football does not affect us. We're FCS. But let's talk about basketball. Let's talk about baseball. Let's talk about softball. What it's going to force your athletic departments to do, and this is just not at the HBCU level. This is at even the Power 5 level. Where are you going to compete? Are you going to fully fund all 35 scholarships for football, for baseball? This goes from the SEC to the WAC to the SWAC. That these universities will have to make that decision. And all the scholarship is somebody in the finance office pushing some buttons and transferring some internal money.
Right.
So once again,
but Drew, here's the thing, right? And I thought about this especially, I mean, I loved the one thing about Carlos's panel is you've got great perspectives from an administrator and a coach, as well as two veteran media people. And as I listen to them talk about it, if your school has already been successful, look, we already understand some budgets aren't equal. We can look at the SWAC, for example, and see some schools like Southern have a budget that is probably twice the size of another school, like maybe Mississippi Valley State,
Alcorn,
A&M, Alcorn. You're right. But your programs have been functioning a certain way with the numbers that has been. So let's take baseball, for example. Baseball has been finding a way to function with 11.7. Now, just because you can add 20 more, are you really going to add 20 more? You know, I mean,
does your university have the money to add 20 more?
Probably not. Probably not. That's and the hard, and that's what's going to be the challenging part as some schools do find a way to offer some money. Those are the ones that are going to start to separate themselves. Right?
Correct.
And also another thing, Drew, that that article that I mentioned about how this affects Olympic sports, when you look at the new roster limits and you look at some of those sports, how many of these sports are being played in the Olympics? Aerobics and tumbling, baseball, basketball, beach volleyball, equestrian, fencing, field hockey, gymnastics, indoor track, lacrosse, rifle, rowing. I mean, Drew, how many? So many of these Olympic sports. I think they said the number is 75 to 80% of Olympic athletes played in college. So the question is the whole model going to change? And I don't know if it's realistic to worry about whether the Olympics, especially as it relates to our country, what's going to happen to the Olympics. But I think somebody's got to ask these questions. And I mean, you know, football and basketball have paid for a lot of Olympic programs, you know, because you can only spend so much money, right? I tell you, Drew, I worry, and I feel like is college athletics starting to I don't want to say college athletics is turning into a business that is uncontrollable, but I feel like it's turning into an unmanaged business. Like there's no like who if I asked you, I said, Drew, who would you say is the and I've heard people say this, like what college athletics or college football needs is like a czar or like somebody that just like you have conference commissioners, you have a Dr. McClellan who points and sets the tone of things in the SWAC. College football is getting to that point, if it's not already there, because it's no longer the NCAA that used to be that voice. It's now become the sport. Like almost every sport needs its own person to sort of help guide it. I really do feel that's where we're going. And I'm saying even guide it from a financial perspective. And then we're talking about colleges. Some colleges have presidents who don't even
give two, excuse my language, give two shits about athletics.
I don't think they understand I mean, maybe they're supposed to, maybe I'm being naive when I say they don't understand, but they're not invested in it in the same way. You know, Keith said that czar of college football, the SEC and Big Ten commissioners. Well, they're hey, they're the ones that are in the position to be that person, are they not? But it's a great question that I think, as I would hope that our HBCU brethren start to ask presidents and athletic directors.
You know who I feel sorry for, Bryan?
You feel sorry for somebody?
Yeah.
Oh, who?
I feel sorry for the 17-year-old high school junior.
Okay.
Who's going to be left out of this? They already, high school seniors are already not being recruited because every coach is going to the portal. I've spent the last 2 months going across this country to various high school basketball, not high school basketballs, but various shoe tournaments, Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, etc., working some of those tournaments and talking to some of the college coaches there, because I know a few of them. We're here, but we've already signed all of our kids. You know, we may hold one scholarship for a high school player.
Mm-hmm.
These new roster limits are going to either further depress the abilities of the high school kid. If you are not a 5-star, please consider Plan B.
Plan B meaning what? Lower level?
Lower level.
Okay.
D2, NAIA, JUCO. Go park at a JUCO for a year or two. Hit the portal. Go to an NAIA, hit an NAIA for a year. Hit the portal. Go to a D2, hit the portal. But here's the one thing that you are not seeing, Bryan. You are not seeing a whole lot of kids transferring up.
No,
Most
it doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, you're right.
most of your kids are transferring down.
Mm-hmm.
You started at a P5, you're going to the portal, you wind up at a group of 5. You start at a group of 5, you're hitting the portal, you're going to, in football, you're going to an FCS. In basketball, you're going to a D2. You're at a D2, you're going to an NAIA. So not only that, but we see universities closing. We see universities cutting athletic programs.
I would say we see more. I say you see more of that than we do see universities closing.
I mean, I have seen, especially on the NAIA level, I've seen universities close. And I'm not just talking HBCU. I'm just talking in general.
I just thought of this.
And let me throw this out. When you couple this with the fact that there just aren't as many athletes in high school going to college, people are taking other routes now. Well, Brian, part of it is just population. It's just ain't as many kids, man. You've been around these high schools that were built for 4,000 kids and barely got 1,500 kids in them nowadays.
Well, they've overbuilt is what has happened. You built,
but there used to be 4,000 kids in that facility. Now, a lot of that has to do with migration and urban sprawl and a whole lot of other factors. But it's just the facts, Brian. For lack of a better word.
I'd want to see some data on that, Drew. I'm not 100% disagreeing with you on there. I'd want to see some real numbers because I don't get that sense. I think what's happening is you have almost the same way the housing, the rental housing market in some cities has been mispriced. Like there's
some cities,
a majority of cities across the country where rent has jumped, but cost of living has not gone down. Yes. Increases in wages have not moved with what?
Inflation,
right? So everything can't jump. If one thing moves, the other thing has to move too. And if one thing stays stagnant, which right now is wages, if wages stay stagnant, but everything else is moving up, you end up creating a problem, right? So what I was thinking is you've created this problem where you've created more schools because you were trying to create these perfect world scenarios where we can only have so many students per classroom. So once we've kind of started capping ourselves at 30 kids in a classroom, that means we got to start finding. Well, I mean, I'm just saying, you got to start having more. You got to start having what? You either have more teachers or more schools.
We're not even gonna get to the teacher shortage. It's a whole nother debate.
So I mean, but let me bring back to athletics, and we talked about this concept of the czar. Is it unreal? And I saw EA talk about Title IX, which is fascinating because I think there are a lot of schools. I know one school I'm very near and dear to that is not Title IX compliant, but that is an issue with a lot of schools.
And you still have to do all these things that you talked about in that settlement while maintaining Title IX compliance.
Yeah, good luck with that. I don't know. Is there a time limit on how many years you can be out of compliance with Title IX? Is there like a, like you get, like if you've been out of compliance for like 4 years, do you get a slap on the wrist? Do you get a financial penalty? What happens to you? How many years can you go with being out of compliance? But anyway, is the
good to somebody drop that lawsuit?
Would the NCAA benefit from working with colleges on creating a universal acceptance rate for students, for college students, for student athletes rather? Because you talked about
universal acceptance rate.
Well, I mean, you talked about, okay, one thing that you mentioned is about the thing that I think you didn't mention is when kids are moving up and down, or kids are mostly moving down and not up. A lot of times it has to do with, can you get into the school? I mean, you can want to get in the transfer portal all you want, but guess what? You still have to get accepted by the school. And with kids moving from, if a kid can move to 3 schools in an 18-month period, what does his transcripts look like? Is he still on pace to graduate from 3 different schools?
That's still gonna be there. Hey, Bryan, I'm gonna give you another thing that you may not know, and it is at the, I want to say it's at the Division II level now. You can transfer up until day 1 of class. There is no window on the Division II level like there is on the Division I level.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how we got these transfer windows at the Division I level. That does not exist at Division II. You could have a kid, school starts August 15th. You could have a kid go to the portal August 14th.
Right. It's fascinating to I agree. This is one thing I agree right here with Doc. It's too early to understand the ramifications of the court case. Yeah, and that whole part about collectively bargaining with the players, I guess at that point, do you have to sort of admit that your players are athletes or employees rather?
The moment you start collectively bargaining, yes, they do become that.
What is it you had these when at your previous job? What are student workers or what?
They're employees of the university.
But they're what are they?
You got work study, you got federal work study, then you've got non-federal work study.
Okay. Is there an avenue for student athletes to fall under work study? Is that an option? Is that a possibility? Could it be? Could it happen?
Yeah, very, very realistically. I had student athletes who were work study students who did things, and I made sure that their assignments were related to the sport that they were playing.
And so at that point, are they employees of the university?
The work study, because they're on financial aid. It's part of their financial aid package.
But are they a part? Are they so back to the whole idea?
They file a W-2 just like you do, and they pay Social Security tax and all that jazz. They get paid where I was at. They got paid on the same cycle that we did. You know, other places they get paid on a different cycle. When I was at Tuskegee, work study students got paid in the middle of the month, and university employees got paid at the end of the month.
All right. Well, I just feel like they're again. A lot of these schools. I just think that there's a lot of smart individuals that work at these institutions. And this is a $1 billion industry, college athletics. Again, I've always said college athletics, recession proof. But I wonder if in the next 5 years that bubble will burst. That's what I wonder, Drew. Here we are at the middle of the decade, just about the middle of the decade. Could the bubble eventually burst? Could these good times, come to an end? It seems like there's a lot of money being printed. And again, there's got to be a way to compromise and to bring more parties to the table and figure out a solution that works. What I'd love to hear, Drew, is the various options, pros and cons of students being employees of the university. Because if student athletes become employees, it allows you to do what? One thing, but it doesn't allow you to do another. I don't know. Just some thoughts. So again, If you guys
Here's your problem, Brian.
with
The moment that they become employees and that student blows their knee out, is that workers' comp?
I mean, there's obviously insurance, isn't there? Aren't student athletes already covered with insurance policies?
But because they got injured on the job, does it now become workers' comp?
But you already receive injury.
You've changed their classification. It would be just like you going into the gym and slipping and falling. That's workers' comp.
How's that workers' comp when I slip at the gym?
If you're working and you lift, that would be workers' comp. You moving the table in place for the game. No, if you yourself, you get hurt at work, working at your high school.
Oh,
that becomes a workers' comp claim.
Okay. Okay, but again, I don't know enough about insurance.
Just something to think about. Just something to think about when they get to that level.
Yeah, but I mean, when you say that though, you say that as if you already don't receive, like you're saying that, but you're not really explaining the difference. Like you already get coverage as a student athlete when you were injured. So what's the difference?
But it starts. But see, the difference is, as a student athlete, it starts with your primary insurance first. By becoming an employee of the university, now you start with the university insurance as the first claimant.
All right.
It's all about the liability. Because it goes to your personal, your personal insurance first, then the university's insurance picks up secondary. By becoming an employee, now the university insurance picks up first, and then your insurance will become the secondary. It's a lot of legal that has to go into that.
All right. Well, obviously, you will kind of keep our ears to the ground as we kind of assess what's going on. Speaking of money, I want to pivot to, before we come back and finish up the show, we're talking about the MEAC, or the football media days. I saw a podcast or an interview on HBCU Sports with Kristen Johnson of Talladega Gymnastics and her mother. And of course, if you've forgotten, because I know the Olympics are going on and it's summer, but maybe you've forgotten that a couple of weeks ago, Talladega College decided to pull the plug on their gymnastics program after just one season, and definitely caught the girls and the coaches off guard. And in the interview, Kristen and her mother were talking with I forgot who they were talking with on HBCU Sports. So I apologize already. I think it might have been Kendrick.
I think it was Kendrick Marshall.
Okay, might have been Kendrick that they were talking to. And they kind of spelled out they gave a little more information about just the timing. Again, they talked about how the timing of this has really put these young ladies at a disadvantage, not just to be able to transfer, but transfer and compete with a new school. Because this is July. Hell, school is starting next month. So I know they created the fundraiser to try to received some donations. Their goal was to raise just under $500,000 by the end of the month, which, hey, guess what? That's coming up in 2 days. So that, I guess, once you hit that number, Talladega, and this is another thing, because nobody has said, I haven't read anything. Nobody has said that from the Talladega side that if they raise the 500,000 or just shy, will Talladega agree to keep the program? Nobody has asked that question, or at least, again, I haven't read that. But Drew, on July 29th, 2 days away from the deadline, as I look at the donation page, just under 500 people have donated. They've raised $28,340. Again, 28340. The goal.
They're a little short.
I think that's about 5%. I think they needed to be at least 10%. I mean, they're not even at 10%. They're like 5% right now of their goal. 499,998 is the goal. I don't know, again, why that number seems like you're trying to stay under a certain number, maybe for tax purposes. I don't know. But it was sort of implied or hinted in this interview, Drew, that let's just say they fall short. If they fall short of this goal, this money will help these young ladies potentially cover costs at a new school, right? Which, again, Drew, I'm not an economist. I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn yesterday, but by my count, I see 16 girls in this photo. So you mean to say 16 girls, they're going to divide up this $28,340 that they've raised to date among
1,500 each. About 1,500 each.
Is that 1,500? Everybody gets 1,500. What are you going to do with $1,500? Does that cover books? What college you going to?
First month's deposit on your apartment.
I really, man, it was a tough interview to watch because, and you watched it.
Yes, I did.
It was tough to watch from a couple of standpoints because you could tell there was some hurt. I also think there was some what's the right word?
Mama was real.
Well, yes.
I got to come out the pocket and pay for this.
Yes.
Mama was real.
Yeah. I have a talented daughter. Yeah.
That particular person may not have to come out the pocket, but the other 15 probably.
We always kind of joke. We jokingly talk about the Friday news dump and the timing. Just think, Drew, in an Olympic year where all of our eyes and our interest and focus is over in Paris. I mean, I just saw an article or a tweet that Flavor Flav, you remember him, right?
Flavor Flav.
Thank you. I knew you were going to do that. I heard that he sponsored the women's water polo team. I think it was the water polo team. Literally, because I guess they were saying how we've got athletes and coaches who have to work second and third jobs because their sport is just not very well funded by the U.S. Olympic Committee. So Flavor Flav basically picked up all the cost. I don't know what that cost is, but I'm just gonna wildly guess here, Drew. Wild guess. I bet it's at least $500,000.
Here's the problem, Brian. I guarantee you Flavor Flav did not sponsor that team this month. I guarantee that sponsorship had been ongoing. If this story would have come out long before now, Flavor Flav may have diverted some of those funds potentially too.
You hold on. I'm gonna go back to where I read this. You saying no?
He didn't. It wasn't like he sponsored them last week, Brian. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay, so I don't know. It says Flavor Flav is sponsoring the U.S. women's water polo team after learning players were working multiple jobs just to continue competing despite winning 3 straight Olympic gold medals. I bring this back to why is it so hard for these Talladega girls? Why is it so hard for this program to get $500,000, Drew? It would seem a little easier, shouldn't it? What am I missing? I'm missing something. We're missing something in this story, Drew. Something that we're like overlooking. What is it?
Brian, it's the same thing with any of our programs. Why did North Carolina Central's baseball team get cut?
Yeah, Drew, this is black and brown. Look at this picture, Drew. Hold on, you want me to pull it up? You want me to pull up the picture?
I know what it is, Brian. You
can't compare these beautiful, bright, smiling faces versus a baseball team. You can't do that.
Why not? That's still somebody's child. When it's all said and done, that is somebody's child,
that's
Brian.
Men. Those are boys. Those are
So
boys.
what?
Those are men.
That's still somebody's child.
Yeah.
That is affected. Their educational path has been affected. Their athletic future has been affected. It does not matter the gender, Brian. We have this problem.
Flavor Flav is sponsoring the women's polo team, Drew. He's not sponsoring men's polo. He's not sponsoring
and Brian,
men's rugby. He's sponsoring a women's program.
I'm supposed to get real ignorant on this. We can raise $80 million in 24 hours for a presidential candidate, but we can't do 500 for them. Not saying, and I'm not discounting the presidency and not saying that it's not important.
That's what look, Drew, you're hitting on it right there. You're hitting on it. That's why I'm asking. That's
the number one brown girl.
Is that what we're calling her now? The number one?
I'm just saying, if you're talking about these brown girls over here with their gymnastics, that's right now she's the current number 2 brown girl in the nation.
I agree, Edwin. Why isn't the president and AD catching all kinds of hell for starting this program? And
go
ahead. I think I know where you might go.
Call me.
AD Drew. I see you in the back of the room. How can I? Oh, yes, sir. You have an answer?
Interim president took over July 1. I guarantee you that when the interim president took over, I'm not gonna call his name for right now. You can Google him. I guarantee you that was one of the things that had to be on the chopping block when the board hired him. Just like when the interim takes over or somebody takes over, they got certain programs they want to cut, they got certain people they want to fire, etc., etc., etc. This was one of those mandates that I guarantee you that they put on him and the athletic director. I'm sorry.
No, but Edwin brings up a good point. There have been other universities, AD's presidents, that have been trashed for recent situations like this. But look, I don't know. It's
because Talladega, NAIA, in Alabama, in a non-revenue sport. And matter of fact, Brian, what was the discussion that you and I were having today? When she made the quote that
comments
no
that
one
no one knew about Talladega.
No one knows what Talladega.
This gymnastics program.
No one knew about Talladega outside the HBCU sphere. Does anybody really know where Talladega? Anything about Talladega College? You know what? You know about Talladega Motor Speedway. But do you know what the Talladega College? I bet you none of y'all even know Talladega College. Talladega Motor Speedway is not in the same city with Talladega College. It's 20 miles.
It's in Talladega County.
Talladega Motor Speedway is in Talladega County. Talladega College is in the city of Talladega, Alabama. It's a 20-mile ride.
Tomato. Yeah, I just it's a sad story, but it's getting lost in the Olympic news cycle too.
Right. And unfortunately, this program is a reflection of some of the other issues that are going on at Talladega College. And as serious as this issue is with them cutting gymnastics, there are more serious issues going on at Talladega.
Ooh, you said that so ominously.
I once again, Google it. I'm not putting out negative business, but it's out there on the Google machine. There are more serious issues going on at Talladega. There's a reason why Talladega did not go D2 like Allen and Edward Waters, despite them all having the plans to go Division II at the same time.
They have a new AD over at the athletic director over at Talladega.
I believe, yes, they do have an athletic director. Do not know if the interim title is on her. It was a female last time that I checked.
Well, again, if you want to contribute to the Save Our Program Dega Strong, you just need to do a Google search. It's sponsored by the Isla Foundation. And you can choose to be a supporter and support this program. But I mean, short of a major celebrity coming on board at the 12th, and I mean literally at 11:59 and 30 seconds, I'm not sure how this program meets its goal. And again, I'm still waiting to hear from anybody on the Talladega side of the fence to say that if they make the goal, we want the program to stay. Because they may still look at it and say, well, we've kind of moved forward.
I guarantee they've moved forward.
Oh, I agree. All right, so I had to share that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I forgot. I've got a friend of mine who's a Talladega alum. I need to call him and see what his feel is on this. Just occurred to me. Yeah. Him and his sister are Talladega alums.
Well, see, there you are. You got people.
Yeah.
All right.
You know one of them. He went. Okay. He started at FAMU. He finished at Talladega. I'll tell you who he is after the show.
I wondered if anybody from this Talladega Gymnastics reach out to their famous alum, Deion Sanders. I know you laugh. I just asked the question. Right. And yeah, and great question. What are the Title IX implications of them cutting this program?
Probably zero. Because there was no men's sport added concurrently with it. You can have more women's opportunities than men's opportunities, but they have to be equal or slightly skewed towards the women. But it also has to reflect the makeup of your university.
I did hear one thing I pulled from the interview is that the university had pulled down the Talladega Gymnastics web page link. Like I guess if you had gone to Talladega Athletics, I think it's Talladega Athletics, they had one of the pages was the gymnastics. It's not there anymore. So
That's that Brian, that's SOP.
SOP is abbreviation
Standard
for
standard operating procedures.
Still, I don't know.
I can't give you that one. That's SOP.
I got you. All right, SOP. Okay, let's kind of get ready to wrap the show with just a few observations from back to football media days. Just kind of recapping, just in case now that all the predictions are in. The HBCU diaspora is all over the place with their opinions. We don't have a consensus preseason number one. We don't even have a consensus number one in the various conferences. And just in case you've forgotten, so I asked the question, Drew, who got it right, who got it wrong? Among the various voters, which conference got their predicted order of finish right? And who got it wrong, in your opinion?
I think the MEAC, of all the four conferences, I think the MEAC would be the one who probably got it as close to right as you can get it.
That's sort of the order you would have gone with?
MEAC 1. I think possibly the CIAA 2. SIAC 3. I think the SWAC is just jacked up. and part of the SWAC being jacked up, there's so much parity in the SWAC and the SIAC. Any of those teams could finish in the upper half, could finish in any order. That's why those two are the ones I have the least confidence in. Go back. If you go back to the SWAC, I'm gonna be honest with you. I see seven teams who can legitimately win the. No, I see 6 teams. 6 teams who could legitimately win the SWAC championship.
But you're saying, but those are 6 teams that you don't know what they have coming back,
and that's why I have the least amount of confidence in the SWAC order. I see 3 teams on each side that could legitimately win. SIAC, please.
Albany State, Fort Valley predicted first and second.
5 of their top 6, I think, have a legitimate chance. Actually, I give all 6 of them. And then you throw in the wild card of Clark Atlanta. That's half your conference. I have no confidence in Albany finishing 1, but I don't have confidence that they won't finish 1, if I'm making sense.
Yeah.
CIAA. Let's go CIAA. We'll finish on BAC. I could see Virginia State making the leap this year, but I would never discount Union. I would never discount Fayetteville State.
Right.
So now the one thing that go ahead.
I was gonna say I might have to. It'll be interesting to watch in the first game or two whether Dr. Frazier was just selling wolf tickets, or was he legit when he said that those predictions were based off of last year and that his team, that even he's skeptical of his team's high ranking. You know what I'm saying? I think he was shocked, which I guess the only coach who actually looks at being number 1 and feels like they are number 1 is Trey Oliver at North Carolina Central. Any and everybody else who is number 1 is like kind of shocked a little bit by it. So what? We're number 1? Whoa! How did we get number 1? Trey Oliver is like, no, that's right. We're all in. We're that good.
Does Johnson C. Smith make the leap this year, or does Bowie return to the top?
Now that's a schedule breakdown thing we got to look at.
I'm just saying those are the questions when you talk about who got it right, who got it wrong. Well, those are the questions that you have to ask.
Yeah, but I think we all, when I say get right and got wrong, I think we all thought that the top 4 or 5 were going to be what the top 4 or 5 are.
Right. Here's the thing. I found it very interesting, very odd. What's the new political word now? Weird. I find it weird that none of the defending conference or division champions were predicted to win their conference or division again in any of our conference.
That's a great point. That's a great pickup. I thought about that. I didn't know if it really extrapolated out all the way though, but yeah.
Yes. That was probably the most interesting thing out of all the predicted order of finishes.
Mm-hmm.
And let's sit here on this MEAC. You've got the offensive player of the year and the defensive player of the year,
right,
on the same team.
Yep. And they're the defending champs.
With defending champion, but they're predicted number 2.
Yeah.
You've got the team who had more people on the first team, offensive and defensive, than any other team in the MEAC. And they're predicted to finish 4th. But you've got the only team where there's a clear-cut person as the starting quarterback, who we have a small sample size, and it was average Central, predicted to be number 1.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the team with the best defense, hands down, in the conference, predicted to be number 3. You've got another team who, with its coach, in his 3rd year or his 4th year at Norfolk, Dawson Odums.
4th year.
His 4th year at Dawson, in a do or die year for him, legitimately. Predicted to finish 5th. But he has 19 starters returning.
Exactly.
And then you got Delaware State.
So it sounds like you're putting both the MEAC and SWAC in the did not get it right category.
Now, I won't say get it right. I can't really break it down to get it right or did not get it right. All I have to say is there are a lot of question marks out there because there are no data points for us to go to right now. With the transfer portal, with natural matriculation, there are no data points. Like, I give you one about Alabama State. Yeah, you got your quarterback. Who did you throwing the ball to? Keyshawn Johnson is gone. One of the top receivers in the conference. Now, if Keyshawn Johnson was still on that team at Alabama State, I would have a lot more confidence in Alabama State.
Might be a few more first place votes in there.
But I don't know who Andrew Body's going to throw the ball to. Will Alabama State be the Alabama State of old? Will they keep Andrew Body upright? Because we've seen the quarterback fiasco at Alabama State. We have not seen. Have they had a quarterback since Tavares Jackson at Alabama State?
The last kid, the young man they had last year, he started 2 years.
And what'd they get him?
6-5. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Let me show. I showed this. I flashed it, but I don't know if people really saw. Among all the Division I media days, you can see over in the CAA, Hampton picked 12th, North Carolina A&T picked 14th out of 16 teams. And then over in the Big South OVC, which is a 9-team league, Tennessee State predicted 4th.
That's the OVC / Big South.
What I say, Big South OVC, whatever.
No, I'm just saying. I'm asking you. That's the OVC Big South.
Yes.
Okay. Is there anybody left in the Big South? Garner Webb, Charleston Southern.
I don't know.
Are those the only 2 Big South teams?
What other than
It looks like everybody else looks like OVC.
Wait a minute, is that no? That's not Kennesaw.
That's Lindenwood.
Lindenwood, yeah. So that's what's left. All right. And then I'm going to add this because obviously. So you see what they got right and what, I like to say right and wrong, but you see what the conference predicted order finished now. Now I'm going to throw you a real good curveball, Drew, because
where you going with this one?
Preseason polls are out. And I tell you, the first 3 polls of the season have come out and they are all different. I don't think I've ever seen this. I'm just trying to think back to the last 4, 5, 6 seasons. I don't think I've ever seen such a disagreement. And again, these are polls, not a ranking. Not, we like to do rankings, computer generated rankings. No, these are polls. So these are people's opinions. Yeah. Everybody's got a different opinion. Starting with Box to Row, the first one that came out. I think that was on Thursday or Friday. Box to Row, shout out to Donald Ware. They dropped their preseason HBCU FCS coaches poll, right? And there you can see the defending national champs in Florida A&M picking up the majority of votes. But notice, Drew, North Carolina Central, Howard, Alcorn, Alabama State, and even Tennessee State all picked up first place votes. Fascinating. Absolutely fascinating. Then on Saturday, if you're not familiar with the digital platform, HBCU Premier Sports and more, they had their Division I and Division II poll. And you can see on the left side is the FCS with Alabama State being number 1, followed up by MEAC, number 1 rated team, North Carolina Central. And then, of course, you see Florida A&M. Over on the other side, the Division II side, you actually end up with a tie.
You know what that is, Brian?
What?
That's almost a snake of the SWAC and the MEAC poll.
Wow. Well, except you got Tennessee State in there, though.
Yeah, I said almost.
Oh, I got you. What's fascinating on the other side is the fact that Benedict is tied for first. That blows my mind. Blows my mind that Benedict College, where were they again in the SIAC ratings?
Fifth,
is one spot ahead of Albany
preseason 1.
State. Yeah, so that's the HBCU Sports.
Union third is
technically fourth. Technically fourth, even though the way they carry. Technically, they're fourth because you had a tie.
Somebody don't know how to do polls. Yeah.
And then the guys over at HBCU Sports, just after doing their HBCU Sports Awards show over the weekend, and kudos to Ken Rashad for doing that.
Shout out to them for doing that.
They released their ultimate preseason Division 1 and 2 football poll, and look who's number 1. I mean, North Carolina Central is number 1. So
Central took 2 of the 3.
Did they take 2 of the 3?
I think so.
No.
Go back.
No, they did
FAMU
not.
had 1.
Alabama
State. Okay. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. You had 3. Yeah. And then look over on the Division II side, Drew. Benedict. A lot of love for the defending champs, even though they don't have their coach and many of their star players. And again, Albany State predicted 4th again.
Brian,
heavy CIAA there at the top.
Preseason polls are based on reputation.
Yeah. As worthless as this on a bull. If you know the expression, you know the expression. But yeah, man, I just had to put that out there. I don't even know, we can talk about we don't do preseason polls, but maybe if A.D. and Bryan wanted to have our own poll.
I am not going to add to this cluster. You know what?
It is a cluster. I would love to know from somebody who has paid attention. And there's more polls that might be coming out. I know I know there's probably going to be another poll that drops out at the end of the week.
Dr. Gaville usually drops in preseason.
Yeah. So obviously that will already be different because, will anybody give credit to Howard? That's what I want to see. Will somebody have a poll with Howard at number 1 or maybe Alcorn? I'm curious.
I'm speechless.
Yeah. Well, I just had to put that out there. I was just kind of reading the comments here. Yeah, Edwin, again, I encourage you guys, go check out boxtorow.com. Go check out HBCU Sports.com and then the HBCU Premier Sports and More page. I know he's on X as well as Instagram. Okay. Drew, I think we have exhausted and used up all of our allotment of time credits on a Monday night.
Man, they supposed to put a boot on our stuff.
Yeah. It's time for us to kind of bag it up, fold up the tent, and get ready to move out of here. Any last words or final thoughts?
I'm going to end this show the same way that I ended what's today? Today is Monday. There would be Thursdays, Dr. Cavill's Inside the HBCU Sports Lab. But speaking of Dr. Cavill's Sports Lab, guess who's coming back off of sabbatical tomorrow, Brian?
I heard the dean may be coming back, making a visit. So got to get those notebooks ready, kid. Get the notebooks ready. Get your supplies, and make sure you show up on time. Don't be late. You know what happens when you come in late, trying to sneak in the back of the room.
They're gonna lock the door. And just because of that, Brian, I think I'm gonna take a couple of days off so that he can see how bad these kids then got and how disrespectful these kids then got in his absence, and let him figure it out.
They're not that bad. They're just kids.
Nah, they're not that bad. I'm just messing with you guys. But I am gonna end this show the same way that I've ended Thursday's show. If you have a young person who's going off to college, especially if they're going off to college for the first time, I ask that you do one of two things. Either A, guide them through the absentee ballot process where they live at currently, so that when they get to school, they can vote absentee in November. Or B, before you leave and drop that child off, or before they get going, once they get themselves settled in school, have them go down and register to vote in the town in which they are attending school. Vote wherever they feel comfortable. If they want to get into politics at home, have them vote absentee. If they want to get into politics where they currently go to school at, have them vote there, because in addition to the national election, politics are local. So your vote counts not only on the national level, but it also counts on the local level. So I want to implore everyone to get out. One vote, one voice.
I want to give you, I got 4 questions here for you, Drew. Trivia questions, multiple choice, Olympics related, surrounding men's basketball. I'm gonna keep it simple for you. I'm not gonna get outside of your wheelhouse too far, right? I'm not gonna ask you about judo or fencing. I'm gonna give you basketball Olympic trivia questions. You ready?
Go ahead.
At Tokyo 2020, the USA took home the gold. Who was their opponent in the final game? Was it Slovenia, France, Germany, or Australia?
Germany.
You would be incorrect. It was France. All right, 0 for 1. Question 2. Who holds the record for most total points in Olympic basketball history?
KD.
Was it Spain's Pau Gasol?
Oh, okay.
Brazil's Oscar Schmidt? Argentina's Luis Scola? Or Australia's Andrew Gaze?
Oscar Schmidt.
You are correct.
Oscar. Probably the greatest basketball player no one ever saw.
He scored 1,093 points in his Olympic basketball career. All right, question number 3. So far, Drew, 1 for 1, 1 and 1. Basketball debuted as a medal sport for men in 1936. When was the women's added to the Olympic Games?
1976.
You are correct. The other options were 84, 92, and 64. Of course, we had already just talked about this. Good job, Drew. So far, you're off to a good 2-1 record. Here's the final question. Which team has qualified for and will make its Olympic debut in Paris? South Sudan, Uruguay, Hungary, or Morocco?
South Sudan.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, A.D. Drew goes 70%. Getting 3 out of 4 correct. Good job, Drew. Impressed. It's a
Brian,
good thing. It's a good thing that we talked about some of this beforehand, right?
Brian,
Yeah.
my night just went to crap.
Why? What happened? Oh, is Doc dropping the evening? Is he dropping the rankings tonight?
No, he's making us put it. He's making us put he's giving us something before he takes back over.
I'm not prepared. I mean, I am prepared. I can give a top 5.
No, read the text message, Brian. That's all I'm going to tell you.
Oh my goodness. Oh man. Let me see. What's the text message say? Oh wow. Okay. Jeez. Okay. Doc going all in.
Doc, what had happened was
I did. What is Edwin talking about? Didn't I say you got a 75%?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I don't know. What is what? All right, let's go.
I was just saying, see, Doc, what had happened was, I'm trying to think of an excuse already, but I got to lead by example, Brian.
I got time. I'll start at the bottom. It won't be hard to start at the bottom. Next week's show, over unders. We'll do the entire Division 1, Division 2, or I should say Division 1 and non-Division 1. We'll do the entire over and unders for the start of the first show in August. So get your pencils ready. Start formulating your thoughts on how many total wins you think every school in the Division 1 and non-Division 1 will do. Jamie Walker and I kind of did the MEAC the other day, but all the other ones will be done for Sunday's show. So Drew, get ready, and for you guys, get ready as well. And if you're watching tennis, enjoy the coverage. Go check out the Gold Zone. I encourage you. You won't be disappointed. And I'm gonna go to try to find some. I'm gonna try to get a little bit better. I'm gonna look at. I even started downloading podcasts about the Olympics, Drew. So I mean, that's how invested I am into keeping up.
Invested is the key word, probably.
Yeah, invested. So, all right, man. Back to school for me on Friday. Yay! All right.
Another one of those school districts that start on Friday. I'm gonna hold my tongue.
Oh, it's teachers. Teachers report on Friday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so just teachers. So, all right. Well, that's gonna do it. For A.D. Drew, I'm Brian Fulford. Want to wish my mother a happy heavenly birthday tomorrow. Definitely will have a piece of chocolate cake. I know she likes chocolate cake, so I'm gonna try to find me some good chocolate cake and have a piece of chocolate cake in her memory. So I'm gonna do that tomorrow. So thank you guys for watching the show. Don't forget Dr. Cavill's show tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 Central. And then Wednesday, you can catch the ONG Strike Zone, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central. Make sure to follow the BCSN on all of our platforms at MyBCSN1. Go download the BCSN Pod Zone. Podcast watchers, please go download, listen. All of our shows are available on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music. I said Spotify. If I didn't, I'll say it again. Everywhere you listen to podcasts, BCSN Pod Zone. Thank you guys for watching. Be well, be safe. Have a great rest of the week. Peace out.
Well, holla everybody. Travel light.